Welcome back, everyone, to Hearthstone Grandmasters for the Americas. We finished 3 matches for today, and we have our 4th coming up with Monsanto versus killinallday. It's killinallday's debut in Division A as well. After this match, we have officially touched all members of Division A, and then we'll be going to Division B to feature Briarthorn and Zalay. Then tomorrow will be the rest of those Division B matches. I'm Frodan. I'm joined by TJ, and we have the bans in. Warlock banned this series away from Monsanto. Meanwhile, killinallday's Rogue is banned. So some of the less represented decks not going to see the light of day for this series.
Yeah, and these bans honestly make sense given like the unique decks that both players have in their lineup. Killin is not necessarily as worried about the warrior, especially considering that he has a priest in his lineup that he knows is getting left up. And of course, the rogue being banned away, it is a more aggressive stealth rogue, which does well against multiple of Monsanto's decks. Druid and Mage being the 2 biggest ones, since he is playing the Turtle Mage. That's right, it's not killinallday who's playing the Turtle Mage, which he brought in one of the Swiss weeks and has been finished rank 1 legend with Turtle Mage last season.
Yep.
Held rank 1 legend for the first couple days of this season with Turtle Mage. Nah, he's bringing Temple Mage. Monsanto's the one bringing Turtle.
That's right. You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself play Turtle Mage, apparently. killinallday has the Highlander Priest going up for game number 1, featuring Cobalt Sticky Finger. And so amusing, this entire Monsanto arc, given that you pretty much could peg what kind of players you would go up against, and therefore people use that knowledge against their opponent. Love to see it. Monsanto, no hat for today. Quite disappointing. Oh, it's not the priest. It is the Warlock.
It's the Warlock, yeah. Here we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
You never know what happens on Grandmasters, including what deck is queued.
Yeah. I got a little secret / not so secret insight into the hat. Monsanto was just embarrassed by his hair.
What?
It wasn't a lucky hat. It wasn't a fashion. He got a haircut since then. It wasn't a fashion statement. It wasn't a lucky hat. It wasn't a superstition kind of thing. It was just because he wanted to hide his hair. That's it. Simple as that. I wish there was something more there, but there wasn't. Now it appears as if he's gotten a haircut, so no more hat. Maybe in forever.
I don't see anything wrong with Monsanto's hair. I think his hair actually looks pretty slick relative.
I said he got a haircut.
Yeah, I'm saying relative to other people. So Monsanto, you have nothing. Don't let TJ hair shame you just because he buzzed his hair.
No, I think his hair looks nice. I actually don't know what his hair looked like prior to it. He just told me that he was ashamed of his hair and he would get a haircut and not wear the hat anymore. I wasn't making a statement. I was just repeating what he was saying. To clarify, Monsanto hair looks great.
Yeah, and I mean, it's during these times of quarantine, as Monsanto kind of debating if he wants to play Armor Smith here, which I agree with, given that he can challenge this Tor guy pretty easily. Given the current state of quarantine and how a lot of people don't really have access to that kind of stuff, I don't really blame him. But I will say, he looked damn good on that hat. killinallday is going to go ahead and try to maximize his tempo here. This is one of the harder openings that I think I've seen the Zoo deck encounter, which is like a handful of 1-drops. I've actually encountered this many times, and killinallday has not even opted to use a coin despite having many options to turbocharge his tempo that way.
Yeah.
Is there anything he's particularly saving this coin for, TJ?
A better play. Is that good enough? That's pretty much it. I mean, a Dark Glare turn, potentially. But he really just hasn't had reasons to spend his mana. This Zoo deck is often based around these big swing turns with Dark Glare. He doesn't play Disease Vultures. Instead, he plays like an animated Broomstick and just some additional 2-ofs in places where some people would play 1-ofs, as well as Cult Neophyte in the 2 slot. So Not really much going for him. Double expired merchant 2 to discard what, a tour guide? He really needs to kind of just aggressively life tap and find some bigger things to play.
No, don't. It's still good.
Yeah, well, still should at least. Maybe he just generates enough to threaten the warrior and can outlast them early. But yeah, this is not looking good.
All right, Dan. I'm fine with the infinite 2-1 game plan.
Yeah.
If he never draws anything that's more than 1 mana for the rest of the game, he could just keep playing 2-1s over and over and over.
Love to hear that. Monsanto finds the counter to all these 2-1s. Risky skipper.
Yeah, he also has Battle Rage already. So.
Yeah.
How about 4 cards as well?
Is it me or it just feels like we've been watching some blowouts today?
Well, I mean, it feels like Zoo Warlock specifically. Yeah, maybe not so much since No Hands did have it, but yeah, it does feel that way. Where are my close games, Dan? Where'd they go?
I mean, we had a couple of close games, but overall, this looks like a position where this is not going to be a close game. With no real development.
Wait a second, Dan. Does Soul Shear change that?
Because you can Soul Shear and then play Expired Merchant to guarantee yourself the 2-1.
Infinite 2-1s.
Wait. Giants
no,
are very
is...
good. Nah,
yeah.
It's he has Bladestorm in hand.
Yeah.
And don't forget that Zoo Warlock does have comeback potential, but it costs them more life than average for other decks. If you think about Hearthstone in terms of things costing certain health to pull off certain plays, right? Instead of big combos, you have to expect okay, I'm going to take some damage here. Zoo Warlock seems to be a much higher acceleration of damage that they take because they need to hero power to make these big comebacks, and they're going to take a lot more damage. So
yeah.
I don't know. With Warrior being so powerful of a deck that has a lot of weapons and ways to charge up their aggression, especially with Blastmaster Boom, it doesn't feel like Zoo has that flexibility to kind of wait it out for a big comeback turn.
Well, I'm trying to piece together the Win condition, but outside of sticking multiple Flesh Giants in a row, I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it either. This is looking real bad. All right, Penflinger, and then... I think this might be a situation where you do want to go for the Inspired Merchant.
Yeah.
It feels like you need to hope for a lot of optimistic things to happen, and then that's your only opportunity. Because I think Killen's chances to win this game might be already in that single-digit territory, but it's still a potential comeback here, and it does require him to take some risks. So I actually agree with this overall line that he's trying to take here, which is keep his board development strong.
Yep.
Have a steady flow of threats, right? Because that is one way that Warrior can struggle, which is they have some removal, but if you keep up the waves of threats, they won't ever be able to remove and then play their big weapon cards that they're looking for to develop and shuffle bombs into your deck.
Yeah. The problem then becomes if you're just trying to space out your threats, you're dealing damage to you, the Warrior's dealing damage to you. Seems like everybody and everything is dealing damage to you.
Right. Everything is pointing in the same direction for damage, basically.
Yeah. Well, Hand of Gul'dan picked up, which is nice. Gets to draw some cards. All right, Dark Glare.
Okay. Soul Fragment Chain is helping. All right, TJ, maybe.
Oh, the Penflinger. Here it comes. Into a life tap? Into a Flesh Giant? Wait, Tour Guide into life tap? Into Penflinger?
Soulfire? No, he doesn't have enough to double up on this, right?
I mean, he could Flesh Giant Soulfire.
Almost out of time.
I guess I kind of thought he was going to try to play the animated broomstick as well, but yeah, this double Flesh Giant seems totally fine. Ooh! Actually, I like this a lot as well. Really good optimization here from killinallday. Just finding like different points where you can squeeze in just a little bit more. And that's added up to quite the sizable board presence here for Monsanto. That's quite annoying. Bladestorm ×2 will clean everything up, but that was a cool turn.
So will Lord Barav.
Oh yeah, Lord Barav plus Bladestorm. Even better.
I mean, he tried, right? That was a pretty. All things considered, that was a pretty sick turn. Like you're honestly, you're not getting much better than that. Well, can guarantee some card draw here. And also guarantee death.
Yeah. All right. GG.
Or close to it.
It was a good try, but it doesn't seem like. I mean, is there any soul fragments left in this deck? Okay. I mean, if he plays Voidwalker, I think he's alive. Cutting glass for 0, though. The moment he finds an opportunity to get past the taunt, the game is his.
Like the least valuable brawl ever. But at the same time, the most valuable brawl ever because it just allows him to win the game.
That's right. That's right. Monsanto's going to take game 1 victory. You bring up a really interesting point because there's a statistic in Hearthstone that people actually reference. Probably too much, in my opinion, which is win rate when played. And it's like there's a series of cards that will have completely skewed information that's not relevant, right? Like Pyroblast. Pyroclast is like one of the highest, like, when played, you win the game cards in Hearthstone. But that doesn't mean you should put Pyroblast in every one of your Mage decks because it doesn't exactly fit. So Brawl's win percentage there when played, just the stonks went up there, TJ. That's a big hit.
Yes, they did. Yeah. the one game sample size.
That's right.
But yeah, that was a combination of bad matchup plus a pretty poor draw. And I don't expect that Killen's too upset about that because it feels like the Warrior and the Zoo Warlock that he banned away were both going to take wins at some point or another within the matchup. So in the Conquest, a lot of times you can sometimes have throwaway matchups. If there's 2 decks you want to ban, you have to leave one up. But for Monsanto, he's got to be feeling pretty good because at the same time, he's got a lineup that seems like it wants to beat up on Priest, Malagos Druid especially. Priest and, to some extent, Turtle Mage, which he expected his 2 opponents this week, which are killinallday and Eddie, at least one of them to bring Turtle Mage. But we'll see. Malagos Druid form, and we'll see what Killen decides to queue up for his match. It's going to be Zoo Warlock again.
Okay, well, I mean, Zoo Warlock against Druid seem to be doing perfectly fine. So, and I mean, this opening is way better. Flame Imp and Canrethid, Ebb and Lock sounds way better. Although Monsanto's hand with Lightning Bloom and Innervate and Guardian Animals also looks really good, and he's on the coin. So Flame Imp here, and then the Ebonlock looks really solid. Monsanto still would have to wait till turn 3 to get Guardian Animals, which is...
Oh, no.
Okay. Interesting.
Maybe
so this is around...
Crystal Power?
Yeah, Crystal Power. Wow, it's a lot of respect for Druid. Is it because he saw Monsanto's mulligan? Let me go back and check real quick.
Yeah,
Thanks
I think
to
so.
the rewind feature on YouTube. Low-key, like one of the coolest things about it.
There is so much
Looks like Monsanto kept one card, and it was Guardian
Oh.
Animals.
Okay. Well, I don't think he'd respect it enough to do it over with one keep, but it would force him to play off curve if he like had crystal power. You're foregoing 2 damage at the expense of potentially protecting 3 damage, which does have merit. All right, still no guardian animals available for Monsanto.
It's okay though.
Quite the
because
bummer
you can
that
do
he
it
has to
next
wait
turn.
all the way until turn 3.
But that's kind of the advantage of the play that kind of favored the Flame Imp, is it maximizes the pressure, but in the end, 2 damage, kind of like what you're saying, is that really going to be the difference maker here? I don't really get that feeling. The other thing worth considering was Killen was he played the Torque at first in Life Tap because he wants the ability to play whatever cards that he got. He got a free card, so there's definitely sometimes moments in this deck where you think, do you want to play Tour Guide in anticipation for your next hero power, not this turn's hero power?
Yeah.
A card that you actually see played exactly like that often with Face Hunter.
Yeah, I think the problem is for him is he doesn't have as many things where you capitalize on like waiting for the free hero power. He has Dark Glare, but he doesn't have like Diseased Vulture, so unless he has exactly that, it's exactly the Dark Glare doesn't matter. I suppose is the way to look at it.
What to do?
Yeah, I'm just kind of looking at Monsanto's hand right now, thinking, does he want to use the second Lightning Bloom, or does he want to innervate in the coin? Given that he's going to be overloaded for 2 mana crystals for each Lightning Bloom that he uses, probably better still go for the innervate in the coin. Okay, no Lake Thresher though.
Yeah, the one in his hand is the only one he plays.
Yep. So
Malgos Druid usually only plays 4 beasts, especially if you're playing Geppetto. So second guardian animals will be dead. That's one way to look at it.
yeah.
And he, Kill does have a decent way to clean up this board state.
That was huge.
Yeah, and can play Flesh Giant as well next turn. So he's, I feel like he's sitting pretty right now. Santo's gonna have nearly a dead turn here. Only 2 mana available. Ooh.
Well,
Lightning Bloom out that though. You're still.
You have 4 crystals next turn versus 5. You're not doing, or I guess 5 does give him the ability to play Sated Thresher, but he's also like way better in the future turns if he chooses to go for the Overgrowth now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think from this perspective, Monsanto, I think it's just a long-term investment, which I agree with here, and I like this play. It's definitely not ideal, but I think you got to go for it.
You here for the tour?
He's gonna take some hits though. That's for sure.
Wow. I mean, this is the time that Zoo Warlock moves in. While Druid ramps, it pressures. And because he's stuck on 5 mana, he can still play that Lake Thresher.
Yes,
But he's staring at lethal, so he has to swipe here.
Yeah.
And he's dead.
That'll do it. Wow. Okay.
Quick games. And this is kind of a matchup almost as old as Hearthstone itself. Like Zoo Warlock versus some kind of mid-range combo Druid. Killinallday ties up the series 1 game apiece, and if today's track record is any indication, Killinallday is likely to just sweep this Druid if it ends up continuing at this pace. But we shall see, because we do know that the Druid still has like really powerful openings, and And even though they could be a liable class in the overall lineup, we also know that Druid has some of the most unstoppable hands in all of Hearthstone right now. Still kind of surprising to see double Lightning Bloom, Innervate, and Guardian Animals still end up being as blowout as that was, TJ.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of one of the risks you take when you play like a no Thresher list, because usually you want in that situation to pull out a Thresher, and that buy you enough time to where you don't have to worry about you being so overloaded on mana crystals the next turn because you so overwhelmingly dominated the board. But he wasn't able to, and Killen was able to clean it up and then keep pushing damage. So it's rough. And Dan, I don't know if you were here when Abar told us, but it's a gentleman's sweep, is what it's called when one player wins once and then gets swept, or one player / team.
Why is it a gentleman's sweep?
Because you let him have one. You're a gentleman. You were a gentleman about it. I'll let him have one before I sweep him.
You asked for
Got it.
I don't know. I made that up for why it's called that. I honestly have no idea. That's just what it's called.
Yes. Okay, fair enough.
All right. Game 3. Temple Mage versus Malagos Druid. A matchup that Killen is all too familiar with from last week, playing against Just Saying in the semifinals.
But on the other side, this time is Monsanto, who has the Wild Growth. But Killen, of course, kept the Mana Cyclone and Sorcerer's Apprentice dynamic. That's a really powerful set of combos, particularly against Druid, because Druid doesn't have too many early removal options outside of things like their swipes and their Moonfires and Crystal Powers. And if they don't have it, they can't really get rid of things like Sorcerer's Apprentice really easily. Compared to some other variants of Druid that have, say, Bogbeam, that helps them up a lot more in that early mid-game. So it's a little bit removal light, but that's because they go for such heavy emphasis on combo damage at the top end.
Yeah, you can see Killen focusing very heavily just on draw right now. Pick the cheapest thing from Primordial Studies just to be able to get Wand Thief out with the combo next turn. Looking for draw because he's looking for that big Sorcerer's Apprentice turn. What
This
was he
feels
find that
so-
he would play for 1 mana?
Yeah. I was going to say that it feels like a trap to go for Mana Cyclone, Sorcerer's Apprentice stuff right now. There's actually not too much cards of substance that you can actually do. And it's like, if you have to Ray of Frost your own minion, usually not a good sign. It's kind of like when you have to like pen fling your own health to like play Flesh Giant stuff. It's not ideal, but sometimes you do it. In this case, I don't think he needs to. Monsanto has nothing really to do this turn.
You hero
Hero
power?
powering, hero power the Thanos seems to be the only way to go about it.
Yeah. He can give it a nice long think, just to make Killen assume that he has more options than he actually does. And holy moly, that is a hand.
It's a lot of cards.
Yeah.
I mean, so now we actually enter like the opposite side of the pendulum, which is like now you have too many cards and like Mana Cyclone isn't actually going to be super effective as you were hoping it to be. It's usually like a recharge mechanic. Dump your hand, fuel it back up with a bunch of random spells, and use and kind of concoct your own win condition from there. The issue is that his hand is like kind of clogged by like another Mana Cyclone, so like these kinds of cards start to bleed a little bit too often to each other. Monsanto with the Twilight Runner is going to also draw some cards here, so pretty soon killinallday is going to run out of time before he can like ramp up any more card generation.
Yeah. It's going to be right now. Can Maybe not very likely, but there's a good chance he gets the Mana Giant down here because he has one spell with he has got Coin plus Ray of Frost, which is guaranteed 2, so it's 4. Actually, not going to go for Counter Spell.
Yeah, I think this might be a giant turn. He could possibly do it. So
He
you Mana
needs a
Cycle.
lot of help to get a Giant down.
Right.
Because he needs 3 spells that cost 1.
Easy.
Still needs a little help from this Evocation if he wants to cast it. Can just like Icicle and just play
True.
Conjurer's Calling next turn.
Runs out on me.
I think Evocation should probably wait the turn. Oh, he's going for it!
Hit it. I mean, I see the value to it, getting an 8/8 down, but I mean, Evocation is pretty massive by itself. He does have a pretty full hand, though. It'd be a while before he could play Evocation, but he also has second Mana Cycle. So.
Right. I'm okay with using that other Evocation because of those reasons you mentioned. Also because the payoff would have been super high. However, that second Twilight Guardian, or rather, Animal Guardians, Guardian Animals, ended up being the answer to the Mana Giant anyways. And now he has Mana Giant and Conjurer's Calling. It all worked out, TJ.
Here it is. Ooh. Got the Gruul.
Wow. No ability to combo with Malagos right now. But he does have Forest Warden Omu and some interesting tempo tools.
Are they interesting enough? I don't think so. He could go Force Warden Omu, Breath of Dreams, and then nail the Malagos off the top. He would get the Refresh Mana Crystal of the Breath of Dreams, so he'd get 9.
What
Then play the Malagos and double Moonfire the Gruul. No, that's not a good play.
Yeah, I feel like we have to maximize our tempo here because pretty soon cards like the Gruul and the Giant's going to run away with it. So, I think Monsanto agrees. Breath of Dreams ramp.
I bring life.
And Alex, okay.
Oh, okay. Putting the pressure
sure.
right back.
Yeah.
I mean,
So he sets up, he has 10 damage from hand.
right. Well, also, this is like threatening Killing All Day to make him do the trades.
Yeah, that's true. It's very true. But there's no living Dragon Breath, so freeze would also suffice in that situation. But it looks like he is going to trade, and Conjurer's Calling. Nice little value from the Conjurer's Calling. Ooh!
Wow.
Oh!
So, I mean, I always have a trouble pronouncing his name.
Turellian?
Turellian?
Yeah.
Turellian. He makes any minion he attacks into a 3/3. And so you can use it to control the state of the board. And since it has Rush, it's good. But what's really nice is the ability for Killing All Day to actually opt instead to trade into the board and develop this counter spell. Stop any damage from bleeding through. Which is huge. Because he also has he's got a lot of pressure going the opposite way, and it's going to be really difficult to deal with the Warlord.
What to do?
Or Dreadlord, excuse me. I wonder if that lifesteal is going to come to play at all. Oh, counterspell doesn't really do much here.
At this point, it just feels like Monsanto needs to not die. Not worry about the lifesteal coming out of that death rattle. So on the board, there's 16. 4 damage with no randomly generated spells in hand at the moment. Pretty hard to come by in this mage list. He saw the evocation, that was randomly generated, is another one. I mean, he could swipe, next swipe would be full cost. He just has to double swipe this, but then he doesn't even have a way to deal with the Dreadlord. You have to like hero power it. So maybe it's just a healing touch. I mean, I feel like this play was necessary because Monsanto's win condition with his hand right now is have a safe enough turn to be able to play Ysera Unleash next turn.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
And then, like, so he needs to survive for 2 turns, effectively. And then hope that you get a bunch of Dream Portals. But it just, honestly, it doesn't feel like that's going to happen.
Right. The alternative, of course, is if he can just top deck Malygos.
Yeah.
And finish this off with Moonfire.
For lethal, yep. That's the double swipe. That's where the double swipe comes in last turn. But that's a 1 in 11. Yep, doesn't hit it. Actually, no, it was shorter. It was less than that because Geppetto was also guaranteed lethal. Because the only minions left, the only minion left in his deck was Malygos. Because he does, unlike what we saw from, I believe it was Saiyan earlier, who played the Speaker Gidra. He doesn't play Speaker Gidra. His Malygos.
Uh-oh. End up giving more damage to his opponent. So heal is puts you at 20 when you're staring at 10, 12. Arcane Missiles is potentially 4. So it's still going to be okay by what he knows. We know that the Raz also is nice to add a little bit of damage here.
But if he does that...
Time waits for no one.
Oh, no, he still can innervate out next turn, yeah.
Yeah.
But...
I like
he doesn't know what the secret is. Yep, so now he's all in on the Malygos play.
Yeah. I don't think the Ysera was getting there a lot of times anyways.
Yeah.
And from Killen's perspective, is there a way to actually potentially even kill now? He's got 5, 8, 9, 10, 12, 16 on the board. If he finds a way for Arcane Missiles to go all face, that would be an extra 4. Which means it's 20 and hero power is 21. Is there a way we can do that?
No.
Maybe we can split the difference, like Ray of Frost times 2 plus Arcane Missiles plus Raz. Violet Spellwing, ping your own Violet Spellwing. Double Ray of Frost, Arcane Missiles for 8.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. Forget the Raz, yeah. I was tunneling too much on the Raz.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that's going to do it. Game number 3 over to killinallday. And the Druid struggles continue. It seems like it's going to be the common denominator this weekend. We teased at the very beginning, and it seems like that prophecy is unfolding before your eyes. As Killen is up 2-1 and looking at our Division 8 campaign by defeating Monsanto, who's been one of our steadiest competitors, just below the very, very top. It does seem like Monsanto has kind of had some ups and downs in the past season and a half. But, you know, landing in Division A again is really huge. He does need to get this last win against, his last 2 wins against Priest. And that just seems hard. Priest is just a really good class at the moment.
Yeah, it is. And this Priest deck is a little bit worse because of the fact that Monsanto already picked up a win with his Warrior deck. Because Killen's Priest is a little bit more On the weapon removal side, he does run Acidic Swampooze and Kobold Sticky Finger. So he cut some, value there with those two cards across both the matchups that he would face. He also has a little bit more of a greedy version, which I guess could work against the Druid, but maybe not so much against the Mage, where he plays Siamat and Plague of Death, so like just more heaviness at the top end. And as opposed to like No Hands Gamer, who had 15 cards that cost 2 or less, I guess Killen still has 12, but those 3 cards could still make a big difference when it comes to trying to get ahead on tempo early game. And Mindflayer Karj, Madame Lazul, Mindrender Lucia, all the 3 M's.
The M.
M. That's what I'm looking for against Druid.
Marine, Marauder, Metavax.
There you go. Not topical or in world, but in company. Well done, Dan.
And therefore okay to say.
Yep.
Thank you. Base of Feywing is actually really powerful against Druid.
Yes, it is.
And it's like on curve. Oh. TJ, I was so
Cobalt
ready for
Spellkin
it.
also on curve.
Sort of.
With the Cabal Acolyte in hand, did this make sense?
Oh, you're right.
Because right now he doesn't have a way to...
Cabal Acolyte.
Yeah.
Okay, TJ.
You don't pick the ones.
I'm kind of disappointed by the potential of it.
Yeah. Oh,
Wait, another one.
he could play... Ooh.
Oh, wow. Talk about hard dragons, or
Woo.
dragons hard to deal with here. These are some of the biggest in the game. They all
This is tough.
keep breathing fire as well, like
Yeah.
down Monsanto's neck. It's just really difficult because Druid doesn't exactly have hard removal. And you're going to see that Monsanto is going to ramp, but if he's ramping and Killinallday's developing, he's going to start the game kind of similar to what we've been seeing Druid do, which is not really healthy.
A simple step.
I honestly kind of wanted to pick Deathwing there from Killinallday's perspective. If only because... Never mind. It's Malagos Druid, it's not Survival Druid. I was saying Deathwing, usually like there's an all-in push that a Survival Druid makes that you just need an answer to it. If you don't find an answer, you die. But this is not that case.
Fair enough.
So
Monsanto has the ability to ramp pretty hard this turn. I guess the debate, it comes down to if he wants to use his nature studies at all. Secure the deck. Wrath or Bees? So if he
secure
ramps,
the deck, actually, I wouldn't rule it out. It's direct damage. I mean, I'm serious.
I know you are, TJ. That's why I laughed.
Oh. Sometimes that deck struggles to get over the hump a little bit. Just needs that little push, And that's where the claws come in.
I guess so. As if this deck, you know what? You're right, TJ. This deck certainly lacks combo damage. Let's add a little bit more in.
Well, sometimes you have to spend the spells like you spend a swipe, You need to make up that damage somewhere.
That's right. Gotta spend money to make money.
That's right, Dan. Don't you ever forget it.
Is there an opportunity for Killinalday to potentially steal this Sarah? Pendulum's Renew. Wave of Apathy?
Yep. Nope.
Okay, that works. Forbidden Words.
Yeah, but it's no development. And I kind of want to Mind Flare this as well.
I must consider.
Ooh, could we do something really cute like Mind Flayer, then Gift of Luminance your Mind Flayer? Because then it'll summon a copy of it, and it'll do the same thing of what we saw
Quickly.
No Hands Gamer do to Lego Tracker.
Yeah.
I suppose the logic is that his opponent's not going to want to trade into this. And
Yeah.
then next turn you Gift of Luminance.
No, that's a good point.
Maybe it's just a little bit too optimistic. Maybe it's a little bit too slow. Either way, I find it hard to believe that Draconic Sluggies is that much better unless killinallday was looking for something specific or trying to make his Alexstrasza cheaper. Which I think both of those don't exactly lead to the result that I think Peace traditionally wants to do. So I am curious what killinallday's thinking, because he obviously has a game plan going into this, and he doesn't have anything to combo with Cabal Shadow Priest and Cabal Acolyte, so I think maybe in his mind he needs more meaningful proactive threats with dragons.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Gift of Luminance is a dragon.
No, you're absolutely right.
Whoa. I mean, that's a good payoff, though, if that was what he was anticipating, like, the ability to just play one of these 9-mana dragons. That Alexstrasza is way better.
All right, so you Zephyrus and Faces Manipulator.
Will they offer you that, though?
What else would it give you in this situation?
I feel like it would give you Earth Elemental, some kind of
Faces
damp-
Manipulator is more power than Earth Elemental.
Yeah, I feel like it would give you, like,
Consider.
proactive threat, reactive threat, and, like, usually next turn. So, like, maybe Tyrion at the next turn card,
Yeah.
proactive threat, like an Earth Elemental, and then this is a Deadly Shot, I think.
Yeah.
Right. The last card, I was thinking if it wasn't going to be Deadly Shot, was going to be, like, Assassinate. But alas, he has board control and Ysera control.
And that lets him roll into Dragon Queen Alexstrasza next turn, and then actual Alexstrasza to win the game. Boom.
That's a game plan. And he also has some nuke buttons, right? Plague of Death.
Yes.
Aeon Reaver to deal with any big dragon like Alexstrasza on the other end. Let's say Monsanto played Alexstrasza and was like trying to threaten a combo. He has opportunities to like Aeon Reaver and Radiance right back.
Yeah, Radiance ends up being pretty clutch in situations like this where you're like ahead. The only way you lose is catastrophic combo from your opponent. Now let's look from Monsanto's side. He's got it's a Germination on the far left, right? He's got Force Ward and Omu Germination. He's also got Alexstrasza. He's missing Geppetto. He's missing Malagos. He's missing meaningful ways to follow up on swipe on spell damage. Those like Thresher still has Teacher's Pet in his deck, which, you know, about as good a situation as he could hope for, drawing through half his deck and still having 2 beasts in there. That's good.
I guess this is the best way to remove it, but now we get to see if killinallday is setting up for that Dragon Tempo plan, or if he wants to just address this board state right now, because he did pick up AoE.
Yeah.
I must consider.
Is
Not
there a
enough.
way we can leverage that, though? I don't think so. I think it just might be either a proactive play, like he could. The thing about it is Alexstrasza is still really good in the next turn. So this turn he could Breath of the Infinite and then play Cabal Acolyte.
Oh, this is cool.
Right, and then whatever comes out, chances are you could be able to steal it.
Oh, it's a
Nice.
Zixor. Oh.
Ooh.
Actually, I really don't think that matters. Most of the time, I think he'd rather draw something from his deck. Than a Zixor.
All right, well, here comes the Dream Portals. What?
Deathwing.
Okay.
We must stop this corruption.
Emerald Explorer, and Monsanto stops there.
I mean, those
trying to
ones
think
are pretty
about-
decent.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about what's the best way for Monsanto to go about this in a reasonable manner without giving up too much board. Like, if he ends up playing like full on tempo, he could play actually a lot of his hand right now.
Time
But
waits for no one.
the downside of that, of course, is he would be very susceptible to giant AoE, like a Plague of Death. So, like, what's the best way to extend to the board while threatening enough that warrants a response, but not overextending and ends up costing him the game? And that's the kind of dynamic that I think that Druid in particularly struggle with Priest, because not only can they have responses, they can also straight up have Myrmidra Lucia and then destroy your hand. So this is a really difficult spot to be in as Druid if you don't have the game-ending damage. But I mean, if Monsanto gets, you know, his big combo cards featuring Malagos in the hand in any way possible, whether it's through the natural draw or Geppetto, he is going to be sitting pretty.
Yeah. And
Must
this is the
consider.
one of those moments where Geppetto started to be the nuts, because that's all of his beasts. Forest Warden Omu, Alexstrasza, Ysera Unleashed, all drawn. I think Geppetto and Malagos are the only two minions left. Obviously, he'd rather get full value from Geppetto, but ripping Malagos from the Geppetto opens up so many options. It increases your damage threshold by so much, and
Yes, by like a factor. It's not even
Yeah.
close. It's like you start entering a new echelon tier of damage
Yeah.
combos potential.
it ups your highest damage potential from like, what is it, 30 to 75, something
Right.
like that. I did the math the other day. I calculated what is the actual max theoretical damage for a Malagos Druid with 10 cards in hand and them all being the perfect cards, and I think it was 75.
Right, because then you can afford to like germinate like Malagos instead.
You germinate
And then,
Malagos, yeah.
And then you can like Omu and then swipe and then destroy everything. So
Yep.
Yeah, there's just a ton of damage available. Way overkill. And so now we go into Monsanto's turn where he picks up Crystal Power. Looks like
Okay.
he might favor a tempo turn, or does he have lethal? He's got 9 on the board, 10 through the Moonfire, 14 through the swipe, and
Is
then
it-
15 through the hero power.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, wow. Well, there you go.
Oh, with the Omu, wow. So you never start counting damage. Don't count theoretical damage, count actual damage.
That's right. It's not about the potential. It's all about what you have in the hand. It looks like Killen may have taken it just a little bit too slow against Druid, or maybe he felt like his plan was solid, just needed an extra turn to get set up. Malagos happened to also be the next card for Monsanto, so that would have been death for Killen even if he did get a turn to develop proactively.
Yeah.
So game number 4 over to Monsanto. As we're going to game number 5, TJ, I believe for the first time today.
Yes, we are. There's been a lot of gentleman sweeps, and yeah, that setup from Monsanto was kind of sneaky because you don't really expect that. But if you're leaving 2 minions on the board like that, it's hard to think that they're not going to be able to piece together the damage when they're holding out that much. But what does Killen actually do in that situation? Right? So that one's a little bit difficult. It's probably a tough one for Killen to swallow, because it felt like he was playing for tempo, playing well. It's just
Right.
you give him too much time, and that's the problem. Without even drawing Geppetto or Malagos, if you leave a single minion up on the board, you might take game any damage or take damage to the point where you're on the back foot and then you lose. So that's what happened. But now it's going to be the Turtle Mage versus the Highlander Priest, Dan.
Does
Buckle up.
feel it does feel like in particular this matchup is going to be very long and drawn out, and it's
Let's
just
go.
fun. It's so poetic that Monsanto of all people, after trashing the deck on social media in a joking way, but also in like a kind of a not joking way, ends up becoming the player that brings Turtle Mage, while his friends and practice partners that brought the deck in previous weeks didn't bring it this week. There's some beautiful poetry in that, TJ, and I am all for it.
The friends that he's in practice partners that he's playing against. With one of them being Eddie. The other one, I guess, Killing All Day, I don't think they're practice partners, but is a player that you would expect to bring in.
Right.
So, very funny indeed. Monsanto is playing. I don't know if there's a fully standard version because there's a lot of different versions. There's Sunray Reward Mage, which allows you a little bit more flexibility with board clears later on. There's Nightblade, which is a little bit more all-in on damage. But doesn't allow you that flexibility, but doesn't have the downside of you not having a 5+ mana spell in your hand. Monsanto's also playing a Boom Pistol Bully and a Cult Neophyte, both of which are to kind of get rid of the possibility of counterplay from the combo in the game. Things like Mindrender Lucia, which Killing All Day is playing a Highlander Priest. That could be a possibility, and he doubles down on that effect to try and protect his combo. The deck still has the built-in failure rates of drawing double potion, but as we saw from Europe earlier, and from Eddie in the finals last week, drawing double potion or having your Turtolans killed off doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to lose the game. It just means it's going to be harder, and the tempo tools for the deck are still intact, though. And I think that's the important part of it. So, as for Killen's deck, he has a couple weapon removal which could help for Sphere of Sapience, but I mean, it doesn't really matter that much. The big cards to look for are Mindrender Elucia, Galakron, and potentially Dragon Queen Alexstrasza, because Nosdormu could also be a win condition.
Yeah, it's not exactly something that you think about, but might come into play maybe every now and then when we are least expecting it. But for people who are not familiar with the deck, just to give you a little lowdown of it, you're essentially just trying to stall the board and remove interactivity from your opponent as much as you can. You freeze their board constantly through Tortolan Pilgrim, which is only just a few spells in your deck with Frost Nova, Blizzard, and the Potion of Evolution. And then you're able to copy really nice battle cries to help give you just a bunch of utility, whether it's things like his Cult Neophyte and his healing in hand, and ultimately culminating to his War Mage that's going to deal damage. The issue usually is that Mage can kind of get aggroed down, and it just ends up dying sometimes because there's too much pressure. So it is commonly known that the counter to this deck is aggro, and Killen is kind of done with his aggro decks. He's playing Priest now, so this is an opportunity for Monsanto to actually get that win that he's looking for.
Yeah. And even then, like at its core, the Tournament deck still has a lot of tempo tools. I mean, I think it's more of a tempo deck than Tempo Mage is, which is kind of crazy. It just doesn't have the combos. I feel like Tempo Mage and Turtle Mage are both combo decks, except Turtle Mage has a much less flashy combo, but more tempo. What a backwards world we live in.
Well, there's the thing about this deck is that I don't really feel like this deck can ever be counted out. Was it earlier today in APAC where like we saw a player got Flick Skyshift played on them and they still didn't win? Flick Skyshift,
yeah, it was Warma versus Felkane, and
yeah.
That's the one that I was referencing. Yeah, because sometimes they just get enough value with freezes and potions, and that's it. Like. It's a really solid deck. It's just very difficult to navigate and requires a pretty extensive knowledge of the deck and your win conditions and the not damage thresholds, but the maximum potential of it.
right, well, we'll see if that ends up being the case. I still think that Monsanto, he's picked up his first Rotolan Pilgrim. He's big chilling. That Lord Keeper will give him enough time. And it doesn't seem like there's enough disruption coming out from Killen, so he would have to be proactive. And he doesn't really have much going on. He's got Zephyrus, which is like okay. He's got Draconic Studies, which has to be his first thing on his mind.
Yeah.
Ugh. This feels
I mean,
kind of weak.
one thing to note is, I mean, since Killing All Day is the one of the Turtle Mage experts in Americas, he does know how to play against the deck quite well. So he can maybe spot some different win conditions that other players may not be able to spot, like spot when it's like good to try and go for a fatigue plan, spot the way like the weakness turns, best Mind Render or Lucia timing. Because I mean, it's just kind of a weird matchup in the sense that the win conditions are not straightforward. Outside of like aggroing them down, trying to play for tempo, or Mind Render or Luciaing all of their Tolan Pilgrims,
Right.
you do have to kind of dig for a win condition, and it does change based on how the game state is.
It's true.
So-
It's also pretty tricky if... Well, the thing is, if you're able to put enough damage, sometimes we see those pre-swap hands with the Lucia, and then they use their own Sunreaver Mage to end the game, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes that pressure does add up. It is kind of unfortunate that Killen has to play things like he has acidic Swamp Ooze in order to establish tempo, but that Swamp Ooze wants to meet things like the Sphere of Sapience. However, with Lord Keeper already played, it's very unlikely that's ever going to be the case.
Yeah.
Push that damage.
For tempo. Ooh, a Squall Hunter. Hunting for some Squall.
I don't know if that spell damage is going to be relevant, but it
not.
could theoretically be.
With Zephyrus, maybe? I don't know.
Right.
He's so
Like-
far away from like finding lethal damage, though, that it just feels like it won't matter.
Well, Monsanto making hand space, and looks like he is cleared for takeoff soon because he will be drawing most likely his Cartoot Defender next turn. Or his other Blizzard.
Yeah. So,
I wonder.
I guess the win condition we need to talk about now is, since Monsanto did play the Lord Keeper Polkelt, it does mean that he is on a clock to win the game, because he will draw double potion.
Okay.
The issue for Killen is that it's a long clock. He needs to survive many turns of Sunreaver Warmage hitting him. And as long as Monsanto doesn't mess up the combo, it's going to be very hard. The one thing that Killing All Day does have going for him is that Monsanto swapped early and had already picked up 2 of his high-cost cards in Sunreaver Warmage and Boom Pistol Bully. So the actual amount of cards that he has left in his deck to draw before he picks up double potion is second Blizzard, second Cartoot Defender, Jandis Brav. That's it. So he's got 3 more turns, and 2 of those turns are taken up by playing the Stratolans and setting up the combo.
Right.
Then, like, the first turn that he draws the potion is going to be, or the first or second War Mage turn. So Monsanto's only going to get like 3 War Mage turns to win. If Killing All Day can find enough stall to stall through that, then he might have a chance. Because the pressure plan at this point is not going to work. It doesn't seem like he's put on enough pressure. Monsanto gets to go for his first Total Pilgrim next turn.
Okay. That makes sense to the way you mapped it out. So then what's the best course of action here for Killen if he kind of knows that? Is it going to be... Is it his Galakron? Just get that hero power online and maybe help generate some stuff.
Your wish is my suggestion.
Okay, and say he's gonna play Zephyrus for that.
Wait. Oh, Doomhammer!
Doomhammer! That's 16 damage!
That can't be frozen.
Zephyrus, you're a genius.
I want.
Weapons are hard to stop as Turtle Mage.
Yeah.
What is happening?
Whoa.
It's a big dragon just came to the hand. Alex
He's
Shraza.
overloaded again, though. He's been overloaded
Ah, you're right,
twice
you're
now.
right, you're right.
Oh, but this is like this makes Monsanto want to have to think twice about what he goes for.
Right.
Especially
So the first
considering
turn-
that second Blizzard's going to be drawn next turn, and he can't use that, or else Sun River War Mage is shut off forever, which shuts off his win condition. He'll draw a double potion. He won't win the game.
Okay. Well, maybe he could just play Cartoon Defender this turn as a stall mechanic, right? Like, just play Cartoon Defender, let it die. Hero Power the Farseer. Then on turn 10, you can play the Tortillon Pokems 3 times over, and then you should be in the groove there.
Yep.
I think that's the line. There is an alternative to him just play the Tortillon Pokemon this turn. But I think I like that less because it puts himself in that vulnerable spot that you mentioned. Well, it's actually not that big of a deal. It's just that Tortillon Program, you want to wait till turn 10 if you can, because then you get the maximum amount of the way you can set up the Potion of Illusions. They can totally just play the potion now, and just play the other one for the freeze.
Yeah, he might have been trying to figure out a way to play around Mind Render, because because he had to freeze there instead of play potion twice. He left his Tortollans vulnerable, so now second Tortollan will be played. He'll have one turn where he's vulnerable to Mind Render because he won't be able to fit in Boom Possibly. That's assuming Killen can deal with these, which he can. He can Wave of Apathy, Cabal Shadow Priest, the big one, and then just hit the small one with the Doomhammer. I fully expect that to happen, just because that gives Killen a Mind Render out to get rid of the second Tortollan before Boom Pistol comes down. Unless he spots a more aggressive line. Unless he feels like he can actually just kill him.
I mean, there's a possibility, right? If he gets Kronks and the rest of this Doomhammer goes upstairs, that's 17 damage. Surely there's a way there's a line where he could actually go for it.
Oh wow, okay. Not going for that at all.
Wow. I
He
mean,
doesn't care at all.
yeah. If let's say this Skeleton Dragon generates another way to deal damage. TJ. That's a way to deal damage. Killing. He's locking in.
Okay.
TJ, it's happening. TJ.
You're in my hands now.
I guess without Mind Render in hand, it doesn't make sense to try and quarter minute that play if you could just make a stronger play. I'm baffled by the last turn. You know, as soon as you think you understand the win conditions versus Turtle Mage, the win conditions just get thrown out the window.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the charm of the deck. It's improvisational a lot of times.
Yeah, I mean, did he do the math and like said it doesn't matter about the Cartoots? I'm gonna kill him this turn. Like,
sure, because you just did direct damage, right? Oh, he finds
but
Shadow Madness. That's a way to get past the Cartoon Defender, TJ. Actually, he had it already with the Wave of Apathy, but now it's cheaper.
yeah, okay. So this turn you Malagos, try and find burn. You just throw the burn and then finish the game with Kronks next turn.
Oh, wow. He finds Fireball. Frostbolt is good, too.
It's Frostbolt. No, it's not enough to push through. Puts it down to 8.
Yeah, and then Kronks plus the Shadow Madness. Okay. Down 8 the next turn.
Unless he plays the second Kartut. Like he could trade in 2 of the cheap ones here.
Right. And so Monsanto might be incentivized actually to play his Boo Pistol Bully. Because I think with this kind of line, he should anticipate Kronks to be in the hand, right?
Yeah.
I am curious though, because if you said, like you said, if he trades it in, he actually can play it and then play the Cartridge Defender Hero Power it.
You're in my hands now.
Yeah, he just needed to empty enough hand space, so now he will get 1 Kartut Defender back as well, and then be able to play Kartut.
If he plays Kartut Defender and in Hero Powers it though. Oh my gosh!
Now he needs to play Potion, and then he needs to play
Freeze?
Did he still get him? So he can Shadow Madness?
You can Shadow Madness.
He can't attack though because his minion's frozen.
Wait, what is Shadow Madness and Cabal Shadow Priest? It's 3, 7, 10 damage, TJ.
Yeah, but then the Shadow Madness goes back at the end of the turn, and then he just trades it all in. I don't know.
I'm thinking real hard. I think Cabal Shadow Priest makes sense given to steal his ability to heal.
And you Shadow Madness trade into the 5/5. Nope. Oh no, because he can't trade in because he stole the other Kartut Defender. And that sets up for the Kronks.
Well, he knows that there's a 1/1 Kartut Defender in hand.
Well, yeah, but if he says, I'm talking about his Kartut Defender. If he plays a Kartut Defender piece from hand, he has lethal with Kronks plus Frostbolt. What I'm saying is he can't.
Well,
oh no, he can
are you
trade it in
sure?
because he
Yeah.
can just trade over the. Yeah, he can trade over the other Tortolans and then trade over. the Cabal Shadow
oh,
Priest.
yeah. Because he couldn't play the Wave of Apathy beforehand because he needed that 3 damage.
Yeah.
So then he could just trade it in and ping it. So then he misses that now. Yeah, this felt really close to being able to happen. I just
don't think there was a way.
I don't think there's a way that turn, maybe.
Yeah,
but
what are you
this felt
supposed
like
to
it was a
do? Like
winnable
every
game.
turn you wait is like another turn where you're gonna get locked out because, like Monsanto, once he gets healthy enough, then he starts weaving in Sunriver War Mages, then he starts weaving in Boom Pistol Bullies. It's actually really difficult to do that too. It's not just as easy as, all right, well I feel like putting Boom Pistol Bullies in my combo now. You can't just do that. You have to have exact board space, exact hand space. You have to still make sure that you're getting back enough Tortolans to continue the combo. And one thing we have to point out, Monsanto, this is his last turn to be able to play a Potion Evolution from his deck. He's drawing his second one next turn. So even if Killen didn't successfully kill Monsanto with all that pressure, he at least forced Monsanto to play inefficiently enough to the point where he's going to draw a second potion.
Okay. Let me look just to verify that. I think he still has a Bone Wraith.
Oh yeah, he has a Bone Wraith, so it's not guaranteed next turn, but it's 50-50 next turn. Killen also doesn't know about the War Mage, so there's nothing has been played since the Blizzard. He just knows that he's drawn 2 cards, going to be 3. So Killen could assume that he needs to survive 2 more turns. But also from Killen's perspective, He might just be completely locked out of the game from this point because Monsanto gets a Boom Pistol Bully in his combo.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Still a potion left.
The Bone Wraith. I mean, that should be enough, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think even with a potion draw, I think that Monsanto had enough. Because he would just go Sun. He would trade in his stuff and then go Sun Reaver potion. And just to make sure he got a Boom Pistol Boy and a Sun Reaver back, he'd play Boom Pistol Boy. The next turn he would do the exact same thing, and that should have been enough damage to pushing a significant amount this turn.
All right, well, I mean, this is the beginning of the end then. There's just not enough damage for him to stop, and he's going to be able to copy all of these War Mages and pressure. And you can see Killen, you can see kind of you're kind of looking at his face expression. That should be it. It's so close, 1 damage off at one point. But like you mentioned, even drawing the potions at this point isn't really that significant of a downside because I can totally just end the game through pure damage next turn. Actually, wondering if there's an out if killinallday drew Lucia. No Lucia in the hand. Trying to go one more turn for it. Cleric of Scales. Solmir, I don't think that's enough here. The penance simply stalls.
Your head isn't as empty.
And it was a pretty hard-fought battle back and forth, but it does look like killinallday knows exactly what's in the hand. He's seen it so many times. That should do it.
Yep.
Wow. Turtle Mage TJ once more getting the win. This deck looks infallible on tournament broadcast so far. It just has yet to really fail spectacularly at a consistent rate. It has lost games, but it doesn't lose that many games. And Monsanto's going to win his first match here in the group stage of Grandmasters. Well done.
Yeah, well done indeed. And I do feel like players, even killinallday, who's played a ton of the matchup from the other side. Maybe we need to dig deeper to find some win conditions because even though he got close, it just felt like with the information he had, he was always going to be slightly short. Maybe if he picks up Fireball from Malagos instead of Frostbolt, that's a different game because he kills him over 2 turns. The Doomhammer choice, I like it, but it seems so difficult to get that final kill on the deck. Even if that last draw was potion, I feel like Monsanto still gets there. That one's just tough one to swallow.
Yeah, well, either way, it felt like it was within his grasp and just narrowly missed out. And if you're not going to win, you would want to at least be that close, right? Like 1 point of damage, and you could have won Game 5. As it does wrap up that series, which brings us to our final games of the day. Briarthorn versus Allay is coming up next here, as we have all of our Division A matches finished, which leads us to Division B. Division